I want you to imagine the logistics of a major home renovation. You've finally pulled the trigger on a project you've been planning for years.
Right, it might be a comprehensive kitchen remodel with custom cabinetry,
Or a complete roof replacement.
or even a massive structural addition to your property footprint.
Exactly. And the process is just inherently chaotic. You are navigating the dust, you're managing the timeline with your general contractor.
And you're writing substantial checks to keep all that progress moving forward.
Yeah, you're heavily invested. But then you check your mail and you find this formal, highly intimidating document.
It's usually the certified mail that gets people.
Yes, it arrives via certified mail requiring your signature. And it is issued by a company whose name you do not recognize at all.
The immediate reaction for most property owners is just a massive spike in anxiety.
You start questioning if your contractor made a critical error.
Or if you are suddenly the target of a lawsuit.
Right. That reaction is incredibly common.
Oh, absolutely. Because your property is this temporary work site, and receiving a document filled with dense statutory language.
It feels like a direct legal threat.
It really does. It introduces a massive amount of stress into an already complex financial undertaking.
Which brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We are here to eliminate that anxiety by decoding the specific document.
We are examining a critical but widely misunderstood component of Florida construction law,
The notice to owner.
or the NTO.
By the end of our analysis today, the goal is to equip you with the exact protocols you need to ensure you never find yourself legally forced to pay for the exact same home renovation twice.
Because paying twice is a very real hazard in this industry.
It's terrifying.
It is. The NTO is a powerful statutory tool. But because it relies on specialized legal phrasing, property owners tend to have one of two completely incorrect reactions.
They either panic and assume they're being sued.
Right. Or they completely ignore it, just assuming their general contractor will handle it.
And both of those responses leave you, the homeowner, entirely unprotected.
Completely exposed.
So to navigate the mechanics of this document, our insights today are sourced from a really comprehensive homeowner's guide.
Provided by Construction Corps.
Yes, they are a veteran-led, licensed design-build general contracting firm. They're based in Clearwater, Florida, serving the broader Tampa Bay area as well as California.
And because they manage high-level structural renovations and additions daily, their guide meticulously maps out these administrative trapdoors of homeownership.
It gives us a really clear blueprint for how to protect your property title.
And the term trapdoor is highly accurate here.
Oh, for sure.
A property owner can execute their end of the project flawlessly. Vetting the general contractor, ensuring progress payments clear on time, monitoring the build.
And still face severe financial consequences if they do not understand the underlying legal architecture of the specific notice.
Okay, let's unpack this. What is the fundamental purpose of a notice to owner? Well, stripping away the intimidation factor, the guide explains that under Florida Statute 713, an NTO is strictly a notification.
Just a heads up, basically.
Exactly. It is a formalized piece of communication informing the legal owner of a property that a specific contractor, subcontractor, or material supplier is currently furnishing labor or materials.
Or intends to furnish them.
Right, to improve that real property.
Yeah.
It is essentially a statutory roll call.
That captures the core function perfectly. But the source material places equal emphasis on defining what the NTO is not.
Which is so vital for managing that initial anxiety we talked about.
When you sign for that certified letter, you are not receiving an invoice.
You do not owe the issuing company any capital at that specific moment.
Furthermore, the document is not a lien against your property.
And it absolutely does not initiate any form of litigation.
So it operates more as a procedural placeholder.
Precisely. The document strictly preserves the sender's legal right to file a mechanic's lien at a later date.
Provided they remain unpaid for the labor or materials they contributed.
Right. They are securing their options under the law, just in case the financial chain of command breaks down between them and your general contractor.
The cast of characters involved in sending these notices is another crucial piece of the puzzle here. The guide highlights that NTOs are generated by entities that lack a direct contract with you.
You, the property owner, yes.
We are looking at subcontractors, specialized material suppliers, niche trades.
The underlying legal concept here is privity of contract.
Privity.
Yeah. You have direct privity with your general contractor because you signed an agreement with them.
But you lack privity with the electrician or the roofing crew.
Or the supplier dropping off a massive load of lumber on your driveway.
Right. And that lack of privity is exactly why the state mandates the NTO.
Because you are interacting with your general contractor daily. The GC does not need to send you a notice to owner because your signed contract establishes their presence.
You already know they are.
Exactly. However, your GC is constantly sourcing materials from regional supply houses, renting heavy machinery, deploying sub-tier specialty trades.
And you do not have a contract with that local supply house.
You likely do not even know they are involved.
So the supply house sends the NTO to officially bridge that gap in privity,
alerting you that thousands of dollars of their inventory are currently sitting on your property.
And while they expect the GC to pay the invoice, they are putting you on notice of their involvement.
Now, the timing of that notification is highly regulated.
Very strict.
The guide details a strict statutory timeline that these sub-tier entities must follow to validly establish their position.
The NTO must be received by the property owner within 45 days of the sender first furnishing labor or materials to the project.
And the enforcement of that 45-day window is absolute.
No wiggle room.
None. And the calculation of that timeline is incredibly specific. The clock does not start when they issue an invoice to the GC.
It begins the moment their physical labor commences on your dirt.
Or the moment their materials are delivered to the site.
Interestingly, for custom manufactured items...
Oh yeah, especially fabricated impact windows that cannot be used on another build.
Right. For those, the 45-day clock begins the moment the manufacturing process starts.
Long before the items ever reach your property.
So how strictly does the state scrutinize the delivery method of these notices?
The delivery mechanism is just as rigid as the timeline.
It has to be certified mail, right?
Yes, certified mail with a return receipt requested, or an equivalent trackable delivery method that produces a verified log.
So a subcontractor cannot simply email you a PDF.
No. Or hand a physical letter to a worker on site. That doesn't count.
Additionally, the notice must contain precise legal formatting.
Accurate legal names and property descriptions.
And if a supplier fails to secure delivery within that exact 45-day window, or if they botch the statutory formatting,
they forfeit their lien rights entirely.
Wow.
They lose the ability to leverage your property as collateral for their unpaid invoices.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's analyze the real-world implications of ignoring these rules.
Because it happens all the time.
The Construction Core Guide provides this case study from Tampa that illustrates a catastrophic breakdown of this process.
It's a tough story.
A homeowner contracted a GC for a major remodel. The GC subsequently hired a specialized flooring subcontractor.
And following Florida law, the flooring sub sent a properly formatted notice to the homeowner via certified mail well within the 45-day window.
But looking at typical homeowner behavior, the recipient likely saw an unfamiliar corporate name on the letterhead.
Assumed it was a bureaucratic formality meant for the GC.
And just filed it away without taking any defensive action.
Right into the drawer.
The outcome highlights exactly why that assumption is so dangerous, because the remodel was completed successfully.
The homeowner remitted the final substantial payment to the general contractor, clearing the balance of their contract.
However, the GC diverted those funds.
And failed to pay the flooring subcontractor for their labor and materials.
So the financial chain broke.
Leaving the subcontractor with unpaid invoices and a perfectly valid active notice to owner on file.
So several months post-completion, the homeowner was served with a formal mechanics lien,
which rapidly escalated into a foreclosure lawsuit initiated by the flooring company.
Because the homeowner failed to utilize the proper defense mechanisms when they received the initial NTO, they possess no legal standing to dismiss the lien.
None. The homeowner was legally compelled to pay for the flooring twice.
Twice. Once in the original final payment to the GC.
And a second time to settle the lawsuit and remove the lien from their property title.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Tampa case study reveals the true destructive capability of a mechanics lien.
It is not merely a negative mark on a credit report.
No, a mechanics lien attaches directly to the real property,
creating a severe cloud on the title.
It broadcasts to the entire financial sector that there is an active, unresolved legal encumbrance tied to the land.
And the financial paralysis that causes is profound. I mean, if you attempt to capitalize on lower interest rates by refinancing your mortgage,
the underwriter's title search will immediately flag the lien.
And the lender will freeze the process until the encumbrance is cleared.
Or if you attempt to list the property for sale, the buyer's title company will block the transaction.
The most extreme consequence, as demonstrated by that flooring sub, is the foreclosure lawsuit.
Right, the unpaid entity can literally petition the court to force the liquidation of your asset.
Just to satisfy the debt they are owed.
The severity of those consequences is why addressing common misconceptions is so critical. The guide specifically isolates several dangerous myths that consistently leave homeowners vulnerable.
Let's do a quick myth-busting speed round here.
Let's dissect them. The first major misconception outlined in the guide is the homeowner's belief. It's not my problem because I already paid my general contractor.
The legal reality completely contradicts that belief. Your payment to the general contractor does not extinguish the statutory rights of the subcontractors and suppliers.
Truth. It is your problem.
If the GC mismanages those funds, the state of Florida allows the unpaid sub-tier entities to seek compensation directly from the property value.
Relying solely on a canceled check to your GC as your defense is a guaranteed way to find yourself paying for the same work twice.
Absolutely. Now, the second myth revolves around the intimidation factor we discussed earlier.
Right. The myth is receiving an NTO means I am actively being sued.
The truth is, while visually intimidating, the document is purely preventative.
It's just a notice of lien rights.
Right, not a summons to appear in court. The danger lies in letting the fear of the document cause you to ignore it. It requires active administrative management, but it is not an active lawsuit.
Okay, the third myth is perhaps the most operationally dangerous.
This is a big one.
The myth is, I can safely ignore the NTO if I do not recognize the company name.
And the truth is, the entire statutory framework of the NTO is built around the fact that you will not recognize the name.
Because you lack direct privity of contract with these niche suppliers.
Their names will be entirely foreign to you. Assuming an unrecognized name equates to a scam or an error is a massive vulnerability.
Very dangerous. Every single NTO must be treated as a legitimate claim on your property until proven otherwise.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? We understand the statutory mechanics, the timeline, the catastrophic risk of a clouded title.
But the property owner is the entity funding the project, so they require a concrete defense strategy.
Based on the Construction Core Guide, the entire defensive posture revolves around a single document,
known as a lien waiver, or a lien release.
This is the instrument used to neutralize the threat of the NTO.
The lien waiver is the ultimate shield. It's your operational countermeasure.
And to deploy it effectively, the property owner must establish a rigorous tracking system from the very first day of the project.
Every time an NTO arrives, it must be logged into a master spreadsheet.
You need to record the sender's legal name, the date of receipt, the specific scope of work or materials they are providing,
and the corresponding general contractor. You are essentially building a comprehensive audit trail of every entity that holds a potential legal claim against your real estate.
And once that audit trail is established, you use the lien waiver to protect your capital.
Right. Before releasing any major progress payments to the general contractor, and absolutely before authorizing the final project payment.
The owner must demand signed lien waivers from every single entity listed on their master NTO spreadsheet.
The waiver is a legally binding receipt.
It is a written declaration from the subcontractor or supplier confirming they have received their designated funds.
And in exchange, they legally forfeit their right to file a mechanics waivers for that specific amount of work.
The timing of exchanging those documents is critical, which brings us to the distinction between the types of waivers available.
The guide delineates between partial and final lien waivers.
Right, when a project spans several months, you are making incremental progress payments to the GC.
For those installments, you demand a partial lien waiver.
This document waives the sender's lien rights only up to a specific date or a specific dollar amount,
covering the progress made thus far.
Then, the final lien waiver is the ultimate shield.
It is executed at the very end of the project and completely releases the property from any and all future lien claims related to that specific sender's contract.
The leverage this provides cannot be overstated. You do not hand over a $20,000 progress check to the GC based on a verbal promise that they will pay the local lumberyard.
No. You hold the funds until the GC physically produces a signed waiver from the lumberyard.
You are essentially demanding audited receipts before you clear the capital.
To successfully execute this strategy, though, the homeowner needs to accurately identify an NTO when it arrives.
And the guide provides the exact statutory phrasing to look for.
When reviewing a certified letter, scan the text for this specific sentence.
Quote, "The undersigned hereby informs you that they have furnished or will furnish services or materials to improve the real property described below."
That phrasing is the undeniable indicator that you are holding an active notice to owner.
Furthermore, Florida law mandates that the document include specific data points to be considered valid.
It must contain the sender's complete information, a clear description of the labor or materials being provided, and your accurate legal name as the property owner.
Crucially, it must also include the formal legal description of the property.
Right, this is not just your street address. It is the highly specific plot description found on your property deed.
The document will also feature capitalized statutory warning language detailing the potential for a lien.
If those elements are present, it goes straight into your tracking system.
The Construction Core Guide introduces another foundational element to your defense strategy, and it centers on initial procurement.
They adamantly advise property owners to exclusively hire licensed contractors.
While hire a professional sounds like generic guidance, there is a profound legal mechanism behind this advice in Florida.
Under state law, only properly licensed entities possess the legal authority to file an enforceable mechanics lien.
That drastically alters the risk profile of a project.
Oh, completely. If a homeowner hires an unlicensed crew to execute a remodel in an attempt to cut costs, and a payment dispute arises,
That unlicensed entity operates outside the protections of Statute 713.
the state will not enforce a lien filed by an unlicensed operator.
Exactly. Engaging a licensed professional embeds a massive layer of structural accountability into your project.
Licensed contractors are accountable to state regulatory boards. They maintain required bonding and insurance.
And most importantly, their administrative teams are trained to navigate the complex NTO and lien and waiver protocols properly.
Attempting to bypass the licensing requirement completely strips away the legal framework designed to protect your asset.
To verify that protection, homeowners should proactively check credentials. In Florida, you can verify a contractor status directly through the Department of Business and Professional Regulation.
The DBPR portal.
You simply input the license number provided by the contractor to ensure it is active, attached to the correct corporate entity, and free of significant disciplinary actions.
What's fascinating here is how a lien waiver process fundamentally restructures the balance of power on a construction site.
It really is.
By systematically collecting these waivers against the tracked NTOs, the property owner seizes total control of the financial leverage.
You transition from passively hoping your general contractor operates ethically to structurally forcing their compliance.
By withholding capital until the GC proves the sub-tier entities have been compensated, you dictate the terms of the final payment process.
It is a brilliant administrative defense. You move from being a vulnerable participant to the entity controlling the financial choke point.
Let's synthesize the absolute necessities for anyone entering a construction project in Florida.
Your operational protocol requires 4 distinct steps.
Number 1, implement a tracking system for every notice-to-owner document that arrives via certified mail.
Read them, track them. Number 2, demand a comprehensive, transparent roster of all sub-tier contractors and suppliers from your general contractor before work begins.
Number 3, meticulously collect partial and final low waivers, matching your NTO audit trail.
And number 4, unequivocally refuse to release your final project payment until every required waiver is legally secured.
While it demands rigorous administrative oversight, understanding and managing this documentation is the sole method for preventing catastrophic legal entanglements.
It is the definitive boundary between a successfully managed property upgrade and a devastating title-clouding lawsuit.
The source material is very clear. If you are holding an NTO and lack the confidence to process it, do not attempt to guess the next legal step.
Consult a construction law attorney or rely on a highly vetted, licensed general contractor.
We really want to highlight the authors of today's source, Construction Core.
If your property is in the Tampa Bay area or California, they operate at the highest level of regulatory compliance.
Their credentials offer an excellent case study in what a fully compliant entity looks like.
They hold a certified general contractor license, which you can verify as CGC 1530192.
And they do not restrict their operations strictly to general contracting. They're also a registered engineering firm.
Holding license FBPE 39242, which is absolutely critical when executing heavy structural renovations or load-bearing modifications.
They also maintain in-house control over the specialized trades.
Carrying an electrical contractor license EC 130133956.
alongside a plumbing contractor license, CFC 1432954.
Rounding out their capabilities, they also carry a mold remediation certification, MRSR 5676.
They specialize in complex structural renovations, full-scale additions, commercial interiors, and comprehensive residential remodels.
For property owners who prioritize legal compliance and technical precision, they can be reached at 727-999-1845 or through their portal at www.constructioncore.com.
As we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with a broader structural question regarding how this legal framework operates.
It's something to really mull over.
The notice-to-owner system was ostensibly engineered by the state to protect vulnerable sub-tier laborers and niche suppliers from the financial negligence of unscrupulous general contractors.
But consider the practical reality of this legal architecture.
By designing the statute in this manner, the law effectively bypasses the regulatory agencies
And shifts the massive, complex burden of auditing a general contractor's payroll directly onto the shoulders of the everyday homeowner.
Does this system inadvertently force you, the private property owner, to act as an unpaid mandatory project manager for the state,
Holding you entirely liable for ensuring that every hidden entity on your property is fairly compensated?
It's a heavy question.
That is a profound perspective on the realities of property ownership and statutory law.
Definitely something to think about before you start your next big project.
Keep those spreadsheets updated and those waivers secured. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the NTO, and we will see you on the next one.